Hey guys, it's Mike. I'm done uploading the Wednesday sim and I am ready to do another video on breeding. Where I left off last time, we put in a credit bid for Awesome Again as a dam sire. So let's go check a couple things out. We're going to click on Awesome Again. We're going to see a couple things that we didn't see last time. We're going to see that he's no longer available for credits. That's because I purchased him. And the reason I know that is because if you remember, I put in a bid that should turn itself off after it's accepted. So we can look down here. This just said 373 before. Well, now it says, it's 373. Now it says 373 inactive. That tells me right away I got him. But let's go double check some things. The next place you probably want to go here is your shares, okay? Because we found sires using the find sires. Did some of the sire stats with, we showed you some of the heat indexes and whatnot. And actually, if I update this list, because this is the list that I had up previously, I bet you that you're going to see a nice little X right here on the credit breeding for Awesome Again. Or actually, yeah, Awesome Again. I thought I highlighted the wrong one. Let's see. Let's see if I'm just a liar. No, I did not lie. There it is, the X. And that makes sense because we purchased him with credits, and you can't go around just purchasing everything with credits. So, let's look at our shares. Go to My Shares. We're going to sort. I believe I have the sorting on this already done. No, I don't. So I apologize. This is this is my fault again. I do have to get this done. But let's go ahead and just look around. I'm sure we can find them. Here's Awesome Again as a dam sire. We bought it. It actually expires in a year. You have a year to use these things. It's more than enough time. I just don't want people setting on them for 5 years and going, hey, now it's time to breed. That's not what we want. But yeah, again, I'll get this sorting done, so this will be easier. Hopefully pre-release, maybe a little bit afterwards. Now look at all those Bernardinis I got. I don't plan on using them, trust me. I just needed to test. He was my big test case. And actually, if you try to circumvent the system and you type in a wrong sire number, it'll give you Bernardini because he's the default. That's not by, not by design. Well, that is by design, but just more random than anything. Anyway, here's Puchi. His expiry's 8/15/2013, not surprisingly, because I purchased him as well. And Stormcat, 8/15. Now, what you're going to notice for all of these is that we have a stable that they can be used by. This is important, obviously. Let's go ahead and look at e-test case eligible, which is going to knock us down a bit. What happens is, and this is new, when you're putting shares together, you can be a lot more flexible than previously. You can mix breeding, or you can mix credit shares and point shares together if you would like. So, say that you went out and bought 2 horses with credits, but you didn't want to spend credits on the third one, you just wanted points. You can mix those together, that's fine. The only trick about this is that credit breeding shares can be used across any of your stables. But your point breeding has to either be used, but it can be used by the stable that gets it, and I'll explain something to you about that in a second as well. The stable that acquires it, or if you have enough points in another stable, you can transfer it. So, because if you notice when you go to a sire here, it actually doesn't even ask you. When you try to grab it, really doesn't say much about, which stable it's going to go to. But it does give you this note. It says, program will find one of your stables with at least 10, that's because the source is 10, available points, and move the breeding share there. Okay, you can move the shares between stables associated with the master stable e-test case, but to do so you have to have at least 10 available in the new stable. So what that means is that these horses that we just grabbed, let's go see again. I apologize that I don't have the sorting working, but when I do, you can just sort them to the top by expiry. That would be the easiest thing to do. We'll start at the bottom here. Actually, let's look at all shares. You can do them by eligible, which is what you probably want to do later on. But for now, Stormcat can be bred by any stable. That's because he's a credit breeding. He was used with credits. Let's look at Puchi. Puchi was a point, and he can only be used in e-test case. And then let's look at Awesome Again. I remember I bred him with credits. So, but we'll double check. Yep, 373 credits can be used by any stable. Let's say, for instance, though, that I don't want to breed him in the e-test case. And I think in one of my last videos, even, I have a whole ton of horses in e-test case. So that'd probably be a bad place to breed this horse. So let's put it in one of my new stables. Let's put it in the E-Bill Gulch stable we created recently. So all you have to do is log into E-Bill Gulch. and then hit the E-Bill Gulch eligible. Now it's going to give you the horses here. If you go E-Bill Gulch eligible, anything you bought with E-Bill Gulch or anything you bought with credits is going to show up here. The following horses are eligible with E-Bill Gulch. That's fine. Awesome again, of course, because he was credits. You notice Puchi is not yet here, and Stormcat because he was credits. But I do have enough points in E-Bill Gulch stable to transfer the following shares. Not surprisingly, if you look down here at Puchi, I can transfer this Puchi share to E-Bill Gulch. And when I do so, it's really easy. Watch. All you have to do is click this. If you notice, it says stable, and it tells you here. It says just all you have to do is click the current stable to transfer. Okay. So pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm going to click E-Test Case. And not surprisingly, now in the E-Test Case, or E-Bill Gulch, you'll see that we have the share, which was transferred just now from E-Test Case. One thing you probably didn't see, at least quickly, though, if you recall, when I opened the stable, I believe I had $80,000 and 80 breeding points. If you look at our stable finance now, I only have 70 breeding points. And even though you can't see it, those 10 breeding points came out of here because they had to get transferred to E-Test Case. And I'm going to bet you dollars to donuts, if you look back at one of my old videos, E-Test Case probably only had 18. So that's actually what it actually does when it transfers a share. It actually transfers credits back to the stable, or not credits, points back to the stable it came from. So pretty much there's no really razzle-dazzle that goes on where you can move shares around and put point shares together from stables that didn't earn them. You still have to earn your point shares, and I know a lot of people would like to be able to merge point shares across stables, but that gives a huge advantage to people that run a lot of stables. So that's one of the reasons why I'm keeping the stables as they are. But I do allow you to breed credit shares, and my argument there is, you know what, if you're willing to support the sim, I'm not gonna stop you. I know, there's the big, push for equality and everything, and that's great, and I believe in it, and that's part of the reason why I keep these stables, separated. But at the same time, the game's not really overly cheap to run, as well as I got to keep my wife happy and keep this little girl here. If you're looking, that's my little girl. I got 4 pictures of her on here, but so got to keep her happy. And Ben, you know what? If he's happy, he's happy. Anyway, back to the breeding. We looked at my shares, so we have those shares. Now, the way that you breed a horse for scratch breeding, which is going to be what we're going to do, is real easy. Let's go back to E-Bill Gulch. All you have to do is click on this column. So we're going to put Stormcat as our dam sire, and he pops up to the top. We're going to put Awesome again as our dam sire, and he pops up to the top. And then finally, old Puchi, our buddy. And the 2 and the 3 means he's available for 2 or 3-year-old breeding. So we're waiting there. He's at the top. Real simple, similar to the current method. But these shares, we are already own these, so we don't have to worry about anybody stealing them out from under us. We go to scratch breeding, and there we go. He's already there. Puchi, Awesome against Stormcat. We can do the 5X here. And again, a nice slow computer I got here, and I apologize. It's probably slow because I'm running too much stuff. There it is. Look at this breeding. Isn't going to be fantastic? We got a little 5x5 action in Northern Dancer back here, but otherwise we've got a pretty good outcross. We can breed a 2 or 3-year-old. I'm going to breed a 2-year-old. Now, you'll notice, and this is a little confusing at the moment. I'm going to try to clean this up a little bit, but it's not really has to be cleaned up. But I guess just from a visual perspective, our overall cost is 0, as it should be, because this is a scratch breeding, and we've already acquired all of the credits, or all of the shares. So there's no cost. There would be a cost associated, however, if we chose a male or a female. $250, just like it is now. But I'm not going to do a preference. Now you'll notice here is the breeding type. If I chose male, for instance, you can watch these numbers here. I couldn't breed it using points because I don't have enough. If I used credits, I could breed it using credits. But again, with no preference, it really doesn't matter if you got points or credits. It's actually the same thing. It doesn't change these at all because we already own all the shares. Eventually what I will probably do is hide this if there's no preference for scratch breeding, just to keep people from getting confused, but currently there's really no difference. Now, if I recall, I was going to name this horse Waste of Time. And again, I'm sure this name is taken, but we're going to give it a shot anyway. Waste of Time. breed our horse. Got female and male name. Let's try a waste of time. Okay. Breeding successfully been added to the queue. Most new breedings arrive in your stable within 5 minutes. Let's go check out our stables. All horses. Let's see. He's going to be a 2-year-old. Now this is one of the sortings that already works. So he's not there yet. Hopefully he's going to work. Remember, we had a little bit of a problem with my coding earlier in the night. I don't think I've got any problems going on right now. I think this works pretty well. So we're just going to hit this for a second. See if he pops up quickly. Like you said, it usually takes about a minute. Sometimes, you know, sometimes it can take up to 15 minutes. But hopefully this one will go through real. Actually, let me see. Could be wrong. You know what? I lied to you. Breeding doesn't take place every minute. Breeding does take place every 10 minutes. So right now it's 8:08. Actually, maybe it is 15 minutes. I think I got the clock set to 10 minutes, but I tell people 15, honestly, just, you know, so if I told them 10 and it wasn't there in 10 minutes and 3 seconds, I'll get an email. So I'm just going to avoid that. I'm going to hit this one more time. It's actually, I'm going to see when my program, I can keep it up over here. If you actually want to see what I see on the front end, are you prepared to be dazzled? Yeah, this is exactly what I see. As exciting as it is, the last, actually it looks like, yeah, the last breeding update was run, may have just been a minute ago, or I may have missed it when we may have 10 minutes. But first, let's see, I'm going to hit the age again, maybe resort. Ah, there he is, a waste of time in our stable, as promised. Puchi Ngui awesome against Stormcat. We could enter this thing now if we wanted to, but I want to show you how amazing my screen looks. This is what I see. Are you ready to be dazzled? There's a lot of buttons that just say button on them because I got to delete them. There it is. Check it out. Fabulous, huh? Pretty much the only thing I do is, at this moment, to get this thing going, I just hit the play button on Visual Basic, or yeah, what is it, VB.net, and it runs. I don't use any of these buttons. So pretty much the only thing I care about is the CPU one, because that I'm going to have multiple computers running it just to speed things up, and if one of them breaks down, it tells me my last update, which happens every minute, my last breeding update, which happens every 10 minutes, I believe, and my last daily update, which happens pretty much you know, at midnight, or not noon, but at midnight, and it'll take about an hour, hour and a half, whatever, because it's got a big extract. It's probably honestly going to take longer than that soon because of the game's going to get a lot bigger. So anyway, I think that's it for this video. I did show you how to do a scratch breeding. I show he shows up relatively quickly, and showed you how to put those sire pieces together. What I'll do next video is I will do a mare breeding, which is very similar. We need less shares. We just need a mare to do it. And I'll try to explain some of the costs involved. Some of the costs have changed. Again, I really believe that overall the cost for breeding is going to be less than it is now. There's a couple of things which I don't want you to freak out on, where you're going to say, oh my God, he's trying to charge us $1 billion. No, I'm really not. Pretty much what I do is I start things at the beginning of the year at a high cost, and I bring it down during the year. I don't expect people to pay that high cost, but I do want to make it fair for somebody who wants to come in and pay a little more. So I'll explain that a little bit. That goes down to the computer-based mares. That's what I'm talking about. So don't start freaking out yet. But it's just computer-based mares, and not a mare anybody has ever owned. If you've owned a mare, she's still pretty much the same as she used to be. And actually, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised that if you hook up well-bred mares with cheaper sire shares, you are going to get a much less cost product than in the past. So especially if you were to go out and find a nice bred mare of yours and hook it up with a first-year sire that you could get still pretty cheap, you're going to be able to get that for a lot less credits than in the past, or even points. So I'm working towards making everybody happier. There's going to be some things that I do I'm sure aren't going to make everybody happy, but that's just part of running this game. And I've gotten thick skin over the years. If I didn't, I'd have quit by now. I had a little hiatus and had a guy take over for a few months. Everybody remembers the infamous Coda, and I actually probably would have forgotten about that, except he was the one that turned, I think, the entire sim onto Puchi Ngui. So quick story, and I'll let you go. When he was running the game for me for a handful of months, he was in the chat room, and it was the same time that I got a big sire catalog from the Blood Horse, and he was in the chat room, and he was just looking through and telling people he's going to breed horses. So it was between Rhodes and Puchi Ngui. He was talking those guys up in the chat room. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and stop this video now. Thanks for watching again, and next video I'm going to try to hook up some mares with some breeding shares, and we'll get her going.